What's up, guys? Davis Mallory here on season 2 of Leaving a Legacy podcast. And today I'm joined by a friend and a special guest. He's the founder of Dojo USA, a pizza ministry here in Nashville, Tennessee. He is newly married and about to become a father and has become a close friend of mine over the last year. And I'm just excited for you to get to hear his story on Leaving a Legacy. All right, well, Blake, thanks for sitting down with me here today. Amidst your life, I know you're about to become a father, you're freshly married, and you're running a pizza ministry, so I appreciate you just coming over here today.
Right, I feel like I need a breath after you just said all that, you know? It's a lot,
Deep breath.
but it's exciting.
Well, let's let our audience get to know you. Like, what brought you to Nashville, and what brought you into starting a pizza ministry?
Yeah, so two very different questions. So we'll start with the first.
Yep.
My family moved here when I was 3.
Mm-hmm.
Mom and dad were models in California.
Models?
Yeah, ran a modeling agency.
Okay.
And we were getting a little bit older and having a lot of nannies, and they wanted to move somewhere so they could focus on family.
Yep.
My dad had been to Nashville once before, so we picked Nashville before it was cool to move to Nashville from California.
Yeah.
And so was raised here since I was 3. Went to school in Mississippi.
Okay.
And I've been back in town now for about 3-4 years.
When you say school, you mean college?
College, on and off for a long time. A little bit back in Nashville, a little bit back in Colorado, and then finally back here.
Ole Miss, or where'd you go?
Ole Miss.
Ole Miss, let's go.
That's right.
Roll Tide, right?
Nah. Hey, we beat them. We beat them one of the years I was there.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's what led you to Nashville. And what kind of modeling are we talking about?
That's a good question. I don't know. I don't know how many different types
They
of
don't have
modeling
any posters around their house over there?
My mom does. She has a couple.
Yeah.
She has a couple. But yeah, I don't know. She had like big, thick, black, curly hair and just like classic old school model. Like a big old head of hair.
Yeah.
Tall. Yeah.
And did any of you or your siblings get into modeling as well?
Yeah, I think we all had like a brief stints throughout it. Yeah, I had a little stint around 7th grade, and then some guys from school found the pictures online, and got some heckling from that. So that was good.
That checks out.
Yeah, good childhood humbling experience.
Yeah, I feel like I went through a season in my childhood where I wanted to be a model, and I think the same experience happened for me, where I was like, this is not socially acceptable.
Right. When you're young, it's not too cool to be, modeling.
Better to play football, right?
Right, yeah. So that's where I fell into the sports world, too.
Yeah,
so
what'd you play?
Good at that. I wrestled growing up in high school.
I can see that. You look like a wrestler.
Yeah, a little bit of lacrosse for fun.
Nice.
Yeah, it was a good time.
Nice.
Learned a lot through that.
Pizza ministry.
Pizza, man. I mean, pizza came about, I think, the second time I dropped out of college.
Okay.
Needed a job.
How many times total did you drop out?
I think probably over 5.
Okay.
A lot of back and forth. I went to school to try to find my purpose, my passion.
Yeah.
And I didn't really know what I wanted to do. So did a marketing degree.
Yeah.
Switched to business degree. Didn't love taking math classes or science classes. And so dropped out after I ate this dude's barbecue sandwich. And I was like, yo, that's the best barbecue I've ever had in my life. Like, can I work with you?
Okay.
And he was like, yeah, I guess I could use like a sous chef.
Okay.
So I was like, all right, I'm dropping out of school. And it was like this Thai fusion barbecue. Best thing I've ever tasted in my life.
Yeah.
And just followed him around Memphis, Louisiana, New Orleans. And then, I went back to Oxford a little bit. That was a fun semester.
Yeah.
And that kind of fizzled out. Went back to school when I didn't know what to do, and then would find something else, drop out, back and forth for a little while.
So you could tell that food was an early love for you.
Yeah, and not as much like sitting in the kitchen making it every day. I think that was a little monotonous to me.
Yeah.
But like recognizing the art that food is.
Yeah.
Doesn't get a lot of credit, but I think it is like an art, and there's so much that it tells about a person by how they cook or, the time that they put into their food.
Yeah.
So I was able to work with this guy who's so skilled, but he didn't really know a lot about the business development of his restaurant and everything. So I got to put him on like the online apps to order food and take pictures of the food and come up with the menu and basic stuff like that is where I really found where I fit in the restaurant world. Yeah.
And so you launched Dojo in what year?
2024.
2024. So 2 years in.
2 years in, just about.
Yeah.
About 19, 20 months to be exact.
Yeah.
And yeah, a lot of work, little pay, but some of the most rewarding work I've ever gotten to do. And it's such a privilege to work with the people that I get to work with.
And what do you do?
Yeah, so pizza ministry is a good way to sum it up.
Yeah.
It's a charity in our phase right now at a basic level. We go out and feed people in need. Mm-hmm. So we're gearing up for our next event. It's a couple weeks out. Yeah. We're going to go with our new oven from Italy.
Nice.
It's in New York right now getting tiled.
Okay.
It's been a nightmare in and of itself.
Oh, yeah?
Guy just called me. Thought it was supposed to be ready tomorrow. It's not going to be ready till Friday. And they're out of the tile that we want. So it's just been one thing after another, which is a lot of lessons in learning how to surrender and just kind of trust God in the process.
Yeah.
Go out and feed people really good pizza, right? So we're getting our flour from Italy. It's unbleached.
Okay.
It's just gourmet stuff. We don't use machines. We make it with hand. I think there's something to it. You can kind of feel in food what you put in is what you get out of it.
Yeah.
And so it's just unheard of, like the radical generosity, that kind of approach, and just super high quality pizza, giving it out for free.
Yeah.
It's just kind of the approach that we try to
and
take.
Do you usually get asked, what's the catch?
Yeah, so that comes, naturally, right? We'll be out in 30-degree weather handing out free pizza. It's really good. Like, why in the world are you doing this?
Yeah.
And then that's our opportunity to witness and testify about our faith or what calls us to serve others.
So what is your why?
Man, my why is Jesus Christ. It's that cross, right? Yeah. It's the one who redeemed me, saved me, and transformed me. It's why I do what I do.
Yeah.
It's why, I'll do a lot of work for practically no pay right now, He's done so much for my life. He's changed my heart. I don't think I'd be a soon-to-be father or a husband or, much of anything right now without Jesus Christ.
Yeah, bro. Amen.
Yeah.
Do you want to get into your testimony then? I mean, what has been your journey like with Christ? Were you raised in the faith?
I was raised in the good old Southern Christianity.
Yep.
I think it's hard to say Christianity in a general sense because I think anywhere other than America, Christianity means something different than what it means here. And then you go into the South, and I think it's so watered down. It's convenient. It's cool. It's popular. You go be a Christian in California or New York, you're probably a little more on fire, a little more bold with your faith than you have, because you have to be there. You don't really have to be here.
Yeah.
It's kind of weird if you're not Christian in the South.
Yeah, there's more atheists and agnostics in those cities, and it's cool to question everything and believe a little bit of all the world religions or whatnot, right?
Yeah, you can be anything but Christian in California, right?
Yeah.
That's kind of how that goes. So I was raised going to church on Sundays, Easter's and Christmas. Christmas. But that was mainly so that other people would see that we're there, right? Yeah. So, keeping up with the Joneses. I played church basketball. I did some youth group stuff, but I wasn't there for Jesus. I was there because it was what everybody else was doing.
Yeah.
So I grew up, and obviously that faith, the foundation wasn't too solid. And then, got into drinking, started noticing girls at that age, and I was thinking anything but Jesus at that time, and just kind of kept going in that direction where I was living that party lifestyle from, freshman year of high school and on. And then college just got worse, and worse and worse. And then I tasted the real fruit of what, 10 years of something that kind of lifestyle has, and I hit a rock bottom point. And at that rock bottom is where I found Jesus.
Yeah.
And he's gracious, he's kind, he's merciful.
Yeah.
And he welcomed me home. He started doing a work in my heart. And then, my thoughts changed, my intentions, what I wanted to do with my life, the kind of woman that I wanted to marry, the family that I wanted. So everything kind of just did a 180.
Yeah.
So I know a lot of people that probably knew me, 5 years ago.
Yeah.
And now, they see this guy. It's like, what is going on?
Bro, your story and my story is a lot alike, and I think that's what brought us together because my testimony is about, at this point, maybe less than 2 years old, and it's like people that knew me 2 years ago knew a very different version of myself. So I've always understood and related to that, how quick God can change someone and how radical God can change someone.
Yeah, I think it's a good way of him, showing his sovereignty, right?
Yeah.
And I thought, starting out, I was like, why me? Why would this happen? Like, this is crazy, And then I started reading the word for myself, right? Because I grew up listening to people tell me what the Bible said, maybe 1 or 2 verses a Sunday. I'd pick it up when I'm drawing or something, sitting in the pew. And then I had this, come to Jesus moment, and I was like, I got to find out what the Bible says. Like, how am I going to call myself a Christian without even knowing the Bible, which is a common thing in the South, which is wild. So I started diving in, and I found out that this isn't new, what God has done with my life. This is something that he's been doing, right? It's all throughout the Bible, Old Testament, New Testament. So just getting to know God's character really just confirmed and affirmed a lot of the things that was going on in my heart and then going on in my life.
As you're speaking, I'm reminded that they say love is patient, right? And that they say God is love, right?
Right.
So God is patient.
Right.
And I'm just hearing that patience throughout what you're saying today. That patience with this oven and that patience with you as a person.
So patient. And I think that patience is one of the hardest fruits or one that takes the longest to develop. At least for me it was.
Yeah.
I mean, I love to sprint. I love to run. I love to get things done.
Yeah.
And especially with, starting a charity, right? Which starting a business, starting a ministry, anything, you just want to work as hard as you can. But really, you can only do what you can control. And I think that's one of the reasons why I fell in love with the gym, because I can kind of control the outcome in the gym, right?
Yeah.
You get what you put in, kind of like the food, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you can't shortcut the gym, the results,
Yeah.
So.
Did you get it in today?
I did, yeah,
Nice.
A little pull day action,
Nice,
Nice. I love it.
Have you ever done a Murph, just to sideball it?
No Murph.
Yeah.
But maybe next year.
Yeah.
My goal for 2026 is to do one day 315 bench, 315 squat, 2-mile run, and 15 pull-ups.
Where are you at right now with those numbers for squat?
I haven't tried
bench?
it, but with squat, I can definitely get it. Bench, I think I can do one rep around 275, 285.
Yeah.
So I still got some time.
Yeah.
Pull-ups, yeah, I could do it. Probably around 12 comfortably.
Yeah.
Maybe push to 15.
Yeah.
The 2-miler would be tough, but I know I can push through it.
1 and 1 or just 2 straight miles?
2 straight miles.
Yeah, because the Murph is one at the start and one at the end. Yeah. Yeah. All right. So this podcast is called Leaving a Legacy. So Blake, what is the legacy that you want to leave?
Again, that's such a cool thing. I did not know the title of this podcast. You sent me one episode. I didn't even look at the name, but that's a big thing of why Dojo came about.
Yeah.
Something that I really considered and pondered and spent a lot of time thinking about when I was going through really tough seasons. There was a season where I was storm chasing, so going into hurricanes and all of this, and facing a big decision that would affect my future. And when big decisions come about like that, forces you to really focus on what's important, right? And those kind of decisions and situations make you think about the legacy you want to leave behind.
Yeah.
And I just want to be someone that, is known for a man who loves God, right? I want to be someone that helps people, right? That made a positive impact on his community. And so really thinking through that, it's like, how in the world am I going to do that? I don't have any cool talents, right? Like, I'm not skilled. I don't have like a cool voice. Like, I can't sing. Like, I don't know how you do that. All I have is pizza. And God used it, right?
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I think, Dojo starts with pizza. Who knows where it ends, right?
Yeah.
Maybe it gets into burgers. Maybe it gets into hot dogs, right? Right now it's...
Or some good barbecue.
Yeah, good barbecue. There we go. Right now it's pizzas and Bibles, right? At our outreach events, playing worship music.
Yeah.
But start with pizza because I know how to make pizza, right?
Yeah.
And this was an opportunity to help me, escape some tough situations, right? And kind of walk into that new creation, that new purpose that Christ has put on my life. But Dojo isn't supposed to start and end with my life, right? So I'm excited for that next person that Jesus brings along, where we'll find out what skills they have, right? How we can help them, right? Dojo, it stands for disciples obediently under God, helping jobs and opportunities, right?
Okay.
Unite to serve all, if you want to get the full thing. But, it's not about pizza, right? It's
Yeah.
about creating like mission, kingdom economy, right?
Yeah.
Because how do you break poverty? Not by handing out a slice of pizza,
Mhm.
but teaching someone how to make pizza.
Mm.
So maybe right now it's Dojo with pizza, and the business side is Purpose Pizzeria. And there's a royalty on every pizza sold that goes back into Dojo so we can feed people.
Yeah.
Maybe the next one's community cleanup, and we're doing landscaping.
Yeah.
In every yard, there's a royalty, right, that goes into doing someone else's yard. So we can go into a community in a disaster zone with pizza, and we can do cleanup from our community cleanup avenue.
Yeah.
I just see, a lot of things working together to help get people out of the poverty, right? Because if Jesus came today, he's probably not walking into a lot of the churches around here, right? He's probably going right for the people on the street.
Yeah.
And so I think that's where Dojo's ministry belongs, to the people that maybe don't feel welcomed in the church. Our goal is to go be church to those that may never step into church.
Praise God, man.
Yeah. It's exciting.
Yeah.
It's not something that I take lightly, it's something that I dedicate a lot of time to, and it's a privilege. And I really do believe that it's kingdom work.
Yeah.
I'm grateful for it.
Yeah. So with regard to your own walk, like, has there been moments that you might call, like, for a listener who maybe hasn't experienced the walk that you've yet experienced? Someone, sounds like you were raised in the church, you did the typical prodigal thing, and then you had to come back to God. What were some of those steps that God took to lead you back to him? What were the moments, messages God gave you to bring you home?
Yeah, that's good. I think, getting raised in the church, right? And you're not really fully walking in faith with Jesus, but you know that it's the right way to live, right? So it's almost like good morals or how to be a good person, right? Like, that's great, but that's not really what being a disciple of Christ is, right? That's not what being a Christian is about. It's not about being a good person. It's about letting Jesus change you and sanctify you and make you more like him.
Yeah.
So those steps were just a pull on my heart, like an empty void, right? Trying to fill that with sex, drugs, rock and roll, whatever would numb the pain, that was kind of the game. And after a while of just living that life, right? Tasting the fruit, right? And for people that, don't know all the church talk, just the outcomes of living that kind of lifestyle, it's really shallow, right?
Yeah.
You're never going to fill that void.
Yeah.
And so life got tough. Consequences came from my actions of living that kind of life. And I just felt a pulling towards reading the word, searching, knocking, and asking, right?
Yeah.
It was kind of subconsciously too at first. And then it just became more and more apparent. I was in a relationship that wasn't godly, and I felt more and more conviction slowly as, life got harder and harder. I was trying to think about what's the kind of man I want to be? How can I be the best father and husband? And thinking through all that things, I just kept thinking about fathers at church, right? And that was like the one example that kept coming to my mind, who were the best dads that I knew? They're always men of God. So I started, trying to read the Bible, but it was flat because I didn't understand any context, you know? So I started personalizing the text without the context, and it just doesn't have the depth when you don't know about it. And then just felt more and more pulled, knocking and going into churches, right? Listening to sermons. And one sermon was on doing more for others than yourself. And I walked out of there and I called my mom. I was like, I think I've been thinking too small with pizza, because I always thought it was something I do when I retired on a beach, right? No one can make money doing pizza. Like, I want to get rich, and then, when I retire, something to do, you know? Said instead of pizza for profit, I think it needs to be pizza for a purpose. On the phone with my mom right there as I walked out of the church, and she said, I think that's a great idea. I think you're onto something. Yeah. So I called up a mentor of mine who's been in the nonprofit world and hospitality world with Thistle Farms. Okay. Yeah. Told her about it, and she said, Blake, you've told me some ideas before, and this one I can actually get behind. Like, this one has legs, you know? So started walking it out, And as I, started going into that and forming the paperwork, I, for some reason, clicked religious organization and was like, oh, we'll make it about Christ, right? Like, that'll sell, almost like just like knew it in the back of my head. Like that was what I should do, but definitely didn't have the heart at the time. And then shortly after that, man, God would just wreck my world, man. He humbled me. He broke me down, and it was the best thing that could have happened to me. Because then I started actually, running full speed. And that took me out of the relationship that I was in. Handed the girl I was dating a Bible, and we went our separate ways,
Really?
And I went to church dang near every day of the week, The only day I didn't go to church was Saturday. And I just sat in that for about 4 months. And then opportunities started coming with Dojo, right? One after another, just one at a time. People would come out, we'd play worship music, we'd sell pizza at some events, we'd use that to pay for the free events. And it was a slow burn, right?
Yeah.
But it was just faithful and beautiful. If I could go back and change it, I don't think I would. Sometimes I think we want things to grow and shoot off right away and be successful in terms of being able to take care of ourselves financially.
Yeah.
But I don't think we had the foundation built back then, the team around it. And I think we're in a lot better spot now. And so that patience fruit took a lot of time to develop.
Yeah.
But I'm finally at the point where I'm like, okay, if it's not going to work out with this oven, it's not up to me. I've done everything that's on my plate. So I feel good about it. I know God's got the rest.
Yeah.
And I think that brings a lot of peace. Patience and peace go hand in hand. So grateful for it. And not trying to get into too much of the nitty gritty about the past. But all I can say is, I lived for myself, right? Trying to glorify myself, trying to feed every, moment of pleasure I could with the sex, drugs, and rock and roll. And it left me empty, right? It kept trying to fill it or cover it up with anything I could. And it was the most least fulfilling life I've ever lived. And then I gave my life to Christ. And every day I wake up, I'm excited. I'm pumped. It's an adventure. It's exciting. I'm excited for life. I feel like that eternal life really does start when you invite Christ into your heart, right? Into your mind. And you just start letting him renew it. You don't have to wait till you die to start living that eternal life. And I'm just, here today to testify because I've lived both lives. And I choose this one 10 out of 10.
How do you hear from God?
Man, that's good. I think, first and foremost, you got to know the word, right? You got to know God's character. He's given us the word for a reason. I think, brothers in Christ are huge, right? So try to find people that are sprinting as fast as you want to sprint. I went to a sermon Sunday morning, and this guy starts preaching, and it's the Old Testament about Joshua. And it's not just, who's going to be the next Joshua typical sermon. He's going into depth and talking about context and location and, how they dammed the river at the top of the mountain and they didn't know that, and, how fast the current should be coming. And I was surprised, because I think it's not often where you hear that kind of depth and clarity and conviction, especially with an Old Testament sermon. Man, I was hyped. I didn't want him to stop talking. But I think it's people like that where you just recognize, right? We witness spirit to spirit, right? So if you got that Holy Ghost rolling through you, you're going to be able to recognize it. So I think that's a big thing, right? Find people that can be good examples, encourage you, warn you, right? I think that's church. Oftentimes we think of that as a building, but really it's the body, right? It's our brothers and sisters in Christ. My wife, she's so wise in the word. And I'm thankful for her. She was a PK, so she had it ingrained in her, whether she, wanted anything to do with it or not. But she's had her own relationship where it's really beautiful now, and she's got that knowledge. So, if I say one thing or, I'm getting down or having a day where nothing seems to be going right, she's really quick to check me. Well, that's not from God, So I'm grateful for that.
How'd you guys meet?
Oh, it's a good one. Here we go. Romans 8:28. We met in an online DUI class.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
We both went to Ole Miss. Started at different years.
Okay.
And she went back after she graduated and got one like the next morning or something. I don't know, barely blew over. And I got one a couple years back, rolling through a checkpoint, and yeah, they told me to get out the car, and that was that. And I never thought anything good would come from that.
Yeah.
Until fast forward 3-4 years, my license is about to be expired, and they told me I can't get a new one until I complete this online DUI class.
Okay.
I sign up for it. The guy loses my paperwork, says I have to go into the next class.
Okay.
So I wait a month, and I join the Zoom call, and I'm sitting in there. I'm like, oh, that girl's kind of cute. Think nothing of it. And we're going around sharing, like doing the intros. What do you do? And I'm talking about Dojo, talking about Jesus Christ to this room of, 20 random people on Zoom.
Yeah.
And I get done, and she goes a couple people later, and she's like, whoa, like, dude with the pizza ministry, like, that's really cool. My dad's a pastor, like, just encouraging me, like, keep going.
Yeah.
I was like, wait, who said that? That same girl? That's cool. And we go into, like, small groups. She's in the small group. She's talking more. I'm listening, and then it zooms back out. We're in the big group, and she just lets off the biggest sneeze I've ever seen. I thought it was hilarious, so I chatted her, bless you. And she saw it, and she almost responded to, like, the whole group, but it was a private chat, and so she called herself. We chatted back and forth. She kind of made it seem like she lived in Franklin, Tennessee still, so we talked for about a week. She was abroad, and then she was back in town. I was like, okay, like, you want to get coffee or something? She's like, I actually live in Florida. I used to live in Franklin. And I was like, well, this is never going to work.
Yeah.
But sure enough, we kept talking, and a month later, she drove up here for my birthday. And then we kept talking and did about monthly visits.
Yep.
And here we are, 10 months later, married, expecting our first baby.
Praise God. Wow.
It's whatever the enemy intends for evil, right?
Yeah.
God will turn it to good for those that love him and trust him.
Yeah.
So that it's kind of fitting to go along with the rest of my testimony.
Yeah.
That I would meet my wife in those kind of circumstances.
Yeah. Yeah. God had some plans for you.
I mean, he's just showing how good he is.
Yeah.
And sometimes I question him, like, why me?
Yeah.
Why? Like, I don't deserve any of this. I deserve, the worst of the sinners, right? I made a lot of mistakes, haven't done a lot of good with my life. I started off so privileged, with such a head start, and I threw it all away for all the wrong reasons, right? And God still redeemed me. He still called me. He chose me.
Yeah.
And he welcomed me home.
Yeah.
And I get to spend my days talking about Christ, meeting with people that believe in the same Jesus that I do.
Yeah.
And I'm just in awe daily.
Yeah. I feel like this may be from God, or maybe this is just sympathy, but I feel like the world sells that to all of us on a silver platter. Every movie that we watch, every TV show we watch always promotes sexual promiscuity, drugs, alcohol. And as a product of this generation and generations before us and the next generation, it's like we're watching these movies and these TV shows, and as soon as we get out the door, go to college, what we want to do is what we've seen our whole lives. But these movies and TV shows seldom ever show the downfall that living that kind of lifestyle really provides you, Yeah, I think I'm the same way with you. I was raised in the church as well, and I remember watching American Pie and movies that are of that nature for my generation. I know we're little age differences, and then seeing like when I get out the door, I want to go, to the college parties that you see about in TV shows and movies, and I want to drink, and the DUIs are not shown in those college movies.
No, but if they are, they're kind of like, it's laughed off, or they get out of it somehow.
Yeah.
And I think, we are conditioned, right? Like, what is success? You ask most people, and it's going to be financial security.
Yeah.
Right. So kind of redefining that, with Dojo too. I think that's something that recently I've been convicted of. I was having a conversation with this guy. His name was Kane, and he had trained in ministry a lot. He's now a financial planner, but he was asking me about Dojo, and we were talking, and I was like, I started this side business to fund, the ministry, because everybody wants to know, how is this charity going to be sustainable, right? That's a big question. Charity's kind of dead, and everybody wants to know, how are you going to, grow their money, even with ministry?
Yeah.
He said, well, even if Dojo closed its doors down today, would it be a success? Has it led one person to Christ?
Yeah.
It's like, as a matter of fact, it has. I've had one person call me, walk me through, like, I want to give my life to Christ. Someone that I got to know because of my work with Dojo.
Yeah.
And I was like, you're right. It doesn't matter about how much money has been put in. It doesn't matter about how many pizzas have been given out or how many volunteers come serve with us. If one person comes to Christ because of it, it's a success.
Yeah.
But that's not, I don't even think most churches think like that anymore.
Yeah.
It's about, are we balancing our budgets? How many people do we have in the seats?
Yeah.
And so we've just been conditioned by the society we live in, this convenient cultural Christianity, know, and so, with the movies too. I mean, growing up, I didn't think there was anything wrong with movies. I thought that was weird when I got to this church and they were like, we don't watch these movies, right? We don't listen to this music. And I was like, y'all are really weird. What's going on? But, now I understand it, and I mainly only listen to worship music.
Yeah.
And if I'm watching something with my wife and it starts, getting a little out there, I'm going to stop watching it.
Yeah.
I watched couple minutes of the Kevin Hart roast the other day.
Okay.
And man, I don't know if it was Pete Davidson or what, got up there and said some joke about, Charlie Kirk and this and that. And it was just so far off the wall that I was like, I just feel dirty watching this.
Yeah.
And turned it off, and we've never turned it on. My wife didn't ask any questions, know. I think it is something to guard in your heart, guard in your ears, guard in your eyes. And that's really important.
Yeah.
What we listen to and what we watch is kind of an underrated thing.
Yeah.
And also, I don't think they talk about that in school, right? Growing up, I think if there was more talks on everything that happens outside of school, right, that probably would have saved me some trouble in my own life.
Yeah.
Especially with young men and drinking and parties and all of that stuff too. I think it's slowly becoming more and more aware, and maybe people are understanding that. But when I was growing up, those weren't conversations that we were having. So I think, it's just important, and you got to think about that, especially as I'm about to be a father. Those are things that I think about too. How are we going to raise our child? And I think as a man of God, when you're about to have a baby, your goal is to lead them to Christ, right?
Yeah.
So I hope that my son or daughter will be a disciple.
Yeah.
You can tell that I started with son. I'm kind of hoping for a son. I feel like that's going to be a little easier on the first one, and I know what to do with the son. If we have a baby girl, like, God bless, thank you. Yeah. But I feel like I'm going to be helpless. I'm going to be like, what do I do? And she's going to look at me, and I'm going to melt, and I'm going to just say yes.
Well, I'm the first, I'm an uncle, but my firstborn was a niece. So I have that kind of representation, and there's a moment in their life where they're like fun and they're cute and they're little girls, and then there's a moment where you're like, I don't know what to do anymore. They're like getting older, and
so it's exciting. I started framing the word nervous to excitement. It's very much the same feeling, but I feel like that's also the gospel too. Right, reframing your mind. That's a big part of it. And I think that's why it's important of what you watch and what you listen to. It's also how you talk. There's a whole
power in the tongue.
Action plan, right, after you're saved. Some people say like the ultimate goal of being a Christian, right, is salvation. Like, you're still in step one, because that's the first thing, right? You accept Christ, you start to believe it. I don't necessarily think it's some prayer that you just say. I think you got to believe it, and then your life starts to change. You're saved, and then there's an action plan. So you're saved by grace, but then you start to do those good works, right? Because Jesus calls us to take care of the poor, right? Heal the sick. Why are most people sick these days? Majority of them, because they're in poverty, right? It comes down to that systemic issue. So it's a little heart behind Dojo too. It's big things. And that's just a little snapshot into my mind, you know,
Yeah.
just out here, naive enough to believe that change can happen.
Yeah.
You know, I got a big God, right?
Yeah.
So why not? And yeah, thankful for the calling that he's put on my life.
A few ideas have popcorned around my mind as you've been speaking. One of them is I got sober about almost 10 years ago.
Congrats.
And thanks. And a buddy of mine who got sober probably 8 years ago, I led him to AA. And for me, I did a year of AA, and then afterwards I was like, I don't need to come back. Like, I've made my mind up, and I've never touched alcohol again. But him, 8 years later, he still goes to AA meetings like every few days of the week, which I just thought was crazy. But he's now told me over the last 8 years, he's sponsored over 100 guys. And kind of when you were talking about how like that one person you impacted with your dojo ministry, you never know how like one person can impact someone else. And so I was sitting down with him for coffee probably a week ago, and I was like, I've never sponsored one person in my whole life, but I have now led somebody. He was telling me this. He's like, you've led me to now go on and sponsor 100 people. It's like your impact, you don't see it sometimes. And 8 years later, I didn't know he was doing that, you know? So it's like, you don't see it at the time, like what impact you have.
That's right.
Yeah.
And that's biblical, right?
Yeah.
Some people are going to, you know, plant seeds. Other people are going to harvest them.
Exactly.
We're just called to throw out seed.
Yeah.
We might not see the fruit from it.
Yeah.
And so that's a good example.
Yeah.
You know, you help this one guy and look at the fruit that came from it, right?
Yeah.
Hundreds of people.
And then last night I was out with a dude, and I was telling him I was about to film an episode of this podcast. He's like, "What's your goal with it? Like, how are you gonna make money on it?" And I was like, "It's not really about the money for me. It never was. Maybe this is my version of dojo, but it's like for me, it's about these conversations. Like, it's these things that I want people to hear, not for making money." Just for the conversation.
Doesn't make sense. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
You're not going to make money from it.
Yeah,
You're crazy.
bro. But I understand what you're speaking, because it's like, this is the same heart behind this. Like, that's why I'm sitting down with you today. It's like, this isn't about making money. This is about like people's souls, people hearing things. Like, these are conversations I want people to hear. So thank you for coming here today.
What a cool platform. Thank you for having me on this. And I think like, honestly, it's the work that you would do for free.
Yeah.
That's the work that we're called to do. Right?
Yeah.
And so, you know, I hope one day that you can make some money from this, right? What a dream that would be. Be able to do what you love and take care of yourself.
Yeah.
I think, you know, if you're not willing to do the work that you're doing for free, then it's probably not the work that you should be doing.
Yeah.
I understand that it comes with the financial security, and we all have bills.
Yeah.
And I'm so privileged to be able to afford to be poor right now in this season.
Yeah.
That is a privilege, right? To be poor in my season. Like, I don't make a lot of money. Over the 19, 20 months of doing dojo, I've made $2,300.
Oh, wow.
I've taken 2 paychecks.
Yeah.
And $400 each. And I took a one-time stipend of $1,500.
Yeah.
I've paused my paychecks, and I'm not going to take one this month either.
Yeah.
And it just doesn't feel right. I think you're supposed to build up the business first. And then at your bottom line, when that's high enough, then you can pay yourself.
Yeah.
And I understand that. Some people, you know, if this was maybe 6 months in the future, I'd probably feel a little more pressure with that baby already here.
Yeah.
But I feel like I still have 6 months where, you know, I can kind of get by. I can skate by.
Yeah.
My wife works. We don't have too many bills, right? We moved back in with my mom.
Nice.
We live there. So
nice.
Grateful
Thanks,
enough,
Mom.
you know, shout out mom, right? We got free rent. Like, how cool is that? What a privilege to have a mom that'll let you live there for free. That's what I'm saying. So blessed, so fortunate.
Yeah.
And people that encourage me to chase a dream, right?
Yeah.
Go start a charity. Like, I feel like that's a joke. Like, most people say, like, I'm not running the charity over here, but you know, sure enough, I am.
Yeah.
And I feel like I'm the last kid that you would have expected growing up from my high school to run a charity, you know, or to be in ministry or to be talking about Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's just going back to what we said earlier. That's how God works. That's how he shows his sovereignty.
Yeah.
He'll redeem anyone. He'll use anyone. Nothing is left at the altar, right?
Yeah.
So I'm just grateful for the position I'm in. I do see a money side to this coming from, you know, private events, right? Popping up, doing public goods, public sales, pizza sales. We're not there yet. We need an enclosed pizza trailer, $80,000.
Okay.
So it seems like a lot.
Yeah.
But I have faith that that'll come.
Yeah.
And then, you know, you got to have a truck to pull it, right? Because
Yeah.
it's 15,000 pounds loaded down.
Yeah.
So once that comes, then I think there's, events, catering, all this stuff.
Yeah.
You do $1 for every pizza sold.
Yeah.
You fund the charity.
Yeah.
You focus on the charity mainly, but how you fund it is with Purpose Pizzeria.
Yeah.
So I don't know if there's, I'm sure there's a way that God will show you on how to maybe monetize this or take care of yourself. This is where he wants you to be, right?
Sure. Yeah. You mentioned your mom and dad, and I know a little bit about your story, but do you want to talk about like what your relationship is like with both your parents today and like how that will play into being a father yourself, like especially the father role, That's
good. I got so blessed with my parents.
Yeah.
Right? My mom, she's Superwoman. I mean, she's just the most loving person I've ever met in my life. Just an example of the unconditional love.
Yeah.
Same with my dad. Great people. I think my dad, he grew up, he didn't have his biological father in the picture. He adopted later on in life.
Okay.
He also came out the closet about 8 years ago or so. So I think he struggled with that growing up too, and his identity.
Yeah.
And, how to shape that, how to address that too.
Yeah.
So I think that, led to him having some questions about how to be a parent, how to be a father too.
Yeah.
But one thing he taught me is that unconditional love. I mean, he loved me so much, and I'm so grateful for it.
Yeah.
He's always there to pick me up, and so I learned a lot from him on what to do. I also learned what not to do in certain scenarios. I remember we would make these little wood cars, right, for Cub Scouts, and you'd race them and you'd put weights on them. And he's just not like a handyman or, doesn't really know his way around the tools. So he would pay for us to go and have someone else build it. And we'd sit there and watch him build it. And it was cool. And like, that's his way of trying his best, right?
Yeah.
Be the best father he knew how to be.
Yeah.
But I think, now if I get that opportunity with my son, like, we'll look up some YouTube videos is my goal, right? Figure that out together, right? And it's great. They separated after he came out of the closet. That was hard. That was, my whole world, what I thought it was, with family, just kind of got shattered.
What age were you?
I was 21, right? Which seems old, but, nowadays I feel like 21, you're still a kid almost,
you are young. And emotional.
Yeah.
I remember being very emotional 21-year-old.
Right.
Especially if I'm drinking alcohol.
Yeah, I definitely did not handle that well. I was kind of a wreck. And so, that definitely led to some legal issues there. Got a DUI after he came out, too, just getting drunk, getting sad, and crashed my car into a pole. My girlfriend broke up with me because I was such a mess, you know? And I don't blame her at all. I needed to heal on my own. That was too much for someone to be there in that season. But that took a toll on me, not because my dad was gay, but because of what I thought our family was, right? That structure, everything crumbled. And, being a child of divorce is an effect that it has on you, like a long effect that you don't really acknowledge until, years later. It does something to you. My wife, her parents are, happily married, have been for a long time, I think 30 years. And so there's things that she doesn't understand, and I'm like, oh, like you just don't get that. Your parents aren't divorced. So I think that is, a goal. I'm so grateful being married to my wife, rooted in Christ, is like divorce isn't really an option for us, right? I mean, there's like, maybe like adultery, right? That's the only way that you get out of a marriage, right? In the scripture. So just knowing that, we're in this for the long haul, or my goal, is to avoid that outcome that happened with my mom and dad's relationship. My mom has a great guy, that life partner now. He's a great dude. Thankful for him and, his boys and all the stuff that's been added to our family.
So some stepbrother.
It seems like, stepbrothers without the official title and everything. We do holidays together.
Nice.
And then my dad's out in California. He loves his life,
What does your dad do?
He's in the industry of music.
Okay.
Yeah, so he gets to work with a lot of cool people, help them chase their dreams, come up with a strategy to, get them to where they want to go. Nice. So it's a really cool job.
Yeah.
And he's actually been into, the AA program now for a little while too.
Good on him.
And so he was going, every day doing his thing. And I know you mentioned that earlier. So I think there's like so many good things that come from
100%.
that AA program.
Yeah.
For me personally, I found Christ. I got saved.
Yeah.
And I took one step. I said yes to Jesus.
Yeah.
And that kind of took away my desires, cravings for the drinking, the smoking, everything else.
Yeah.
Because I was just so laser focused on running after Jesus Christ as fast as I could.
Yeah.
But, everybody's got different ways, right?
Yeah.
God doesn't do the same miracles, right?
Oh,
He's too creative for that. So I think everybody's got their own story, right?
Yeah.
Everybody, you got to find what works for you.
Yeah.
So I just replaced the drinking and the smoking with the gym and, reading the word, making pizzas, doing all of that stuff. But, I'm so grateful for my parents. They're role models. They're still my heroes. And, I think I'm just so blessed and so fortunate.
You mentioned your father being somewhat of an orphan. Is that what you would probably call it? Or
no,
adopted?
I mean, he has his mom, right? He grew up with his mom and everything.
It was just his father that was...
But, his biological father wasn't in the picture growing up.
Okay.
And then his mom married someone who then adopted him.
Understood.
I think around like age 15, him and his sister.
Okay, so that father bond was broken there, like his biological father.
Yeah, but then my grandpa now, who adopted my dad, he's a great guy.
Yeah.
And, I think that's so big of him to marry into a family like that and take on 2 kids that weren't his own and be that father figure.
Yeah.
But, I feel like that happened later in life. And those younger years, a guy, a son needs his dad.
100%.
Right.
100%.
So I'm just hoping that with my kid, my goal is to be present, right?
Yeah.
My wife works from home. With the work that I do, my schedule's flexible. I'm not tied to an office.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm so thankful for that. And I'm excited to be present and be intentional with my family as much as I can.
Well, praise God.
Yeah. I think that's one of the biggest takeaways from, my dad. He was always trying to provide for our family, and he did provide. Yeah. But because of that, he was on the road, right? Doing music, tours, tour buses, all of that stuff. So because of that, he was gone for a lot of my upbringing, he was working. That's what he had to do. Yeah. But now as I start to, build my family, I get to take this approach of, what's the work that I want to do? Yeah. What are those office hours? All of those things you think about. Yeah. So I'm just so fortunate to be able to chase this dream and kind of build around this life that I want to have. Yeah.
Whew. Well, so I think I told you that I got to meet your dad on the Torrin Wells music video unexpectedly this past week. Who are some of the artists that he's worked with in your lifetime?
And shout out Torrin, great guy.
Yeah.
Just started a church. Yeah. And it's just so anointed with his voice and with his communication. Yeah. I mean, I love listening to his music, and I also love listening to him preach. Yeah. Some of the people that he's worked with, I got to shout out Natalie Grant. It's one of his first artists that he started working with. And my dudes over at Social Club Misfits. Okay. Old Marty and Fern. Okay. And I still love their song. Check out Bust Out the Roof. Okay. And, so many other talented people over the years. We got, he did a little country for a little bit with Blue County. Okay. One of the guys from that band is actually now on the board for Dojo USA. No way. Aaron Benward. Okay. Yes. Nice. He's now in the Christian film world. Okay. He actually had his hands in doing the new Mercy Me movie that just came out. Yeah. So, I mean, there's depth to it. Yeah. One of my mentors now, he knew my dad from back in the day. We would go on vacation, and now he's in the film world too. And he connected me with a guy that works at the church downtown and is charged of like the mission. So I don't know. It's crazy. Like when you find that calling and purpose and you start running into it. Right? Yeah. Things just start falling together. Right. I think it's when you know that you're on the right track, right? Yeah. That God's called you to, you'll feel that momentum. Yeah. Right? And you'll feel peace with it. Yeah.
Okay. So a lot of Christian and country. Nice. And what do you listen to? Like, what's your kind of music?
The music that I like to listen to is mainly worship music. Yeah. Yeah. It's can be anything from dubstep worship music. Okay. Right? It's crazy Christian rap. Yeah. Or, some just good old fashioned worship music.
Yeah. And what church do you call home here in Nashville?
Asking the tough questions now. I would call my home church where I am right here. We're doing church, brother.
All right, let's go.
Okay. I think church is a sensitive subject for me, right? Because no church is perfect.
Yeah.
And also doing this pizza ministry, the first thing people ask when I go tell them about Dojo USA is, what church do you go to?
Interesting.
And most of the time, they only want to work with people if they go to their church.
Oh, okay.
So because of that, I've gotten to get involved in a lot of communities around town.
Yeah.
There is no perfect church, and if there was, I wouldn't be invited.
Yeah.
There was the church that taught me relationship versus religion. It was a church that was a coffee shop and during the day and attached to a church at night, and I sat in there with my Bible and I started crying. It was the presence of the Lord was in that place.
Yeah.
Looked up, there was scripture, and some people were on their lunch break. They sat down and started talking to me about Romans 8 for 3 hours.
Okay.
They didn't go back to work that day. Seeing that sacrifice they made on their work day to spend it talking to me about Christ was something that I've never experienced before.
Yeah.
And after that day, I got in my truck and I drove home, and I had the biggest, like, heavy chest, hard to breathe, anxiety, fear just riddling me. And I'm driving my truck, and I prayed like the most anointed, strongest just prayer I could ever pray. And it was the reason it was so different was because I was praying it like I was expecting it to be answered instead of just a wish, throwing it up. Like, God, you can do this. I know you could. So if you want to, like, here you go. Versus like, in the name of Jesus, I rebuke every spirit of fear, anxiety, and depression.
Yeah.
And in an instant, clear-minded.
Okay.
Full lungs.
Yeah.
Could breathe. And I drove into, my mom's house, parked the car. I was in awe, like, speechless, just sitting here like, is this real? Like, my mind finally stopped racing for the first time in 4 to 5 years. I'd been riddled with anxiety. I'd been in the middle of a big decision for years between, a trial or a plea deal, facing 30 plus years in prison. And just everything felt like it was just crumbling.
Yeah.
And in that rock bottom was when I had that conversation, and when Jesus met me in that truck, and when he gave me that miracle of peace in the midst of the chaos that was going on in my head.
Yeah.
It was at that moment where everything just started to change, and I decided I was going to be a follower of Christ, a disciple. I don't really love calling myself a Christian because I feel like that's so watered down.
Yeah.
I'm following Christ. I'm a disciple.
Yeah.
I'm living every day, right? Not just one day a week for an hour a week, So that church was called Eyes on Jesus, right? It's a coffee shop.
Yeah.
That thing broke. That church led me to Christ right there.
Yeah.
Broke off so many things. I threw out everything I thought I knew about the Bible, about being Christian, and I started reading it for myself.
Yeah.
I started worshiping there, and they have like 3-hour services. They don't stop. They just do music and the same song for 20 minutes. The first sermon, the first night I went, Pastor Kevin was he was giving a word, right? And it was strong, man. He was not sugarcoating anything.
Yeah.
He was like, if you got any doubt that you're saved, then you're probably not. Like, if you don't think you're living the right way, then you're probably not. And just, I felt like he was talking right to me. Yeah. Struck me in my core. And it was exactly what I needed. Yeah. And so I'm weird about the question of what church do I call home now. It's because that was a great church for me in the season that I was in, right? I was single, right? And I needed to learn everything that they had to teach me. Yeah. And now I'm walking out this dojo ministry, right? And I got a family. Yeah. And I got a kid on the way. Yeah. So it's not just about me anymore, right? I got to think about my wife. Where does she get fed the most? Yeah. And then my kid. What's going to be the best kids ministry for my kid? Yeah. Right? And I know that you want to be, people say get rooted in the church. Yeah. First and foremost, you want to be rooted in Jesus Christ, right? Yeah. And then you go to the church, right? And you warn and encourage each other, right? You build on each other's flames. But if you're going to a church just to get your flame doing it the wrong way. That needs to be done in your quiet time. It needs to be done at home every day, every morning, all the time. So I think we're praying through the season right now of what church to call home. I also need a church that can equip me to take these next steps with my calling that God's placed on my heart, right?
Yeah.
With Dojo USA. And so it's been hard. You know, I haven't found that perfect church, right? I don't know if I'm going to, but I think we're going to continue to pray through it.
Yeah.
Obviously, you know, I want my wife to feel like that's where she wants to be too.
Yeah.
Not because, you know, my wife makes that decision.
Yeah.
But because I'm supposed to lay my life down for my wife, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
sacrificing myself, my wants, my needs, you know, maybe where I feel we should go to church to take into consideration where she wants to go to church and she wants to get fed and thinking about this baby. And, you know, if they have like a big mission sides to it, right? Like, are they doing stuff where they go out in the community? Or are they not really interested in that? Because I need to be around people that are doing that work, right?
Yeah.
That can maybe encourage me or help me with the work that God's put on my life. So it's a loaded question. And it's a question that I don't love to talk through because it feels like a mouthful to try to explain my heart and how I feel about church. But I know that there's so many great churches in this town. And I've gotten the privilege to go to a lot of them, get to meet them. And I'm just grateful for this journey.
So it's a question with an answer yet to be determined, but we'll find an answer in the future.
If I had to answer today, you know, I would say Eyes on Jesus Church, right? We got really involved with First Baptist for a little while. And because of my circumstances, you know, I have, you know, my probation stuff and I can't go to churches in certain areas, and that's not a church that I can attend due to my circumstances. It's crazy. There's also like a stipulation that I'm not supposed to be in church more than one day a week. And so when they found out that I was going to church, you know, 6 days a week, I told them the only day I don't go is Saturday. And our probation officers, they laughed. They thought I was joking. And I was like, I'm serious. Like, you can only go one day a week. It's just hilarious. So because of that, you know, that church at Eyes on Jesus, they meet 3 times a week. And so it's hard to kind of get into that community when you're not there every day. So I feel like I'm missing out. So the approach I've kind of been taking recently with this church community is trying to find people that, you know, encourage me in the race that I'm running. Whether they go to this church or, you know, someone else goes to this church. And just kind of building that network of people around me. So instead of, you know, tying myself and my whole, you know, faith and encouragement and warning to one building, I think it's more of a selective group of people that come together to, you know, mentor me and help me walk this walk to the most accountability I can.
It's crazy about the church laws. I did not know any of that stuff.
Yeah, there's a there's a lot to it. I don't understand it. I know it's meant to protect both me and the community and others. But unfortunately, our legal system is not perfect. Laws are set up and they do things that they're not meant to do. For example, I spent 25 days in March jailed.
No way.
For doing charity work in a location where I wasn't supposed to be. And those laws were in place not to prohibit charity work, but to prohibit people with my circumstances from being around those kind of populations, right? I was doing a pizza event at a community center. And unfortunately, you know, I broke the law. Someone reported it, saw it online. And I actually, funny enough, prayed that day over a lady whose son was incarcerated. And that would lead to my incarceration about 3 months later.
Wow.
Because it takes time for them to do an investigation, this and that. They came and picked me up, charged me with 9 felonies. And I spent I got out on bond. And then they came and arrested me again for violating my probation for getting arrested the first time. And then I spent 25 days in jail waiting to get a bond hearing so I could get bailed out. And after 25 days, I got a bond. They let me out. And I went back to court about a week ago. And we settled on a misdemeanor, an attempted violation.
Okay.
Which is just a God thing in the first place,
Yeah.
to go from 9 felonies to 1 misdemeanor.
Yeah.
I don't know why the DA decided to go and, approve with that. I think maybe they saw that I worked with a nonprofit and a charity, and it was not a malicious,
Yeah.
law break, but
Yeah.
just a heartbreak.
Yeah.
The money that had to be spent to
Yeah.
go through that situation, the stress it put on my family,
Yeah.
being in jail 25 days was tough.
Yeah.
But in those 25 days, I had some of the biggest blessings of my life happen.
Yeah.
I found out that I was going to be a dad
Yep.
when I was incarcerated, right?
Yeah.
I got one of the biggest, confirmations on a business deal with a church that wanted to take next steps with dojo and maybe
Yeah.
doing a permanent structure there.
Yeah.
I was locked up in a cell for 15 days on like a maximum security lockdown with 2 other guys, right? And they put 1 bed on the floor. So there's 3 of us in there. There's only supposed to be 2. My roommates, Chill, Will, and D. And we talked so much about everything under the sun, from catalytic converters to meth to everything else. But we talked a lot about Jesus. And at one point, we're sitting there and we're singing This Little Light of Mine at the top of our lungs.
Wow.
And some people were waiting to get moved out into like the next pod. And they turned and looked at us like we were crazy. We were just sitting there worshiping. I read most of the Old Testament, some of the word that I've never been able to read in my life because I didn't have the time, right?
Yeah.
I had nothing but time to sit and read the Bible. And I'm so thankful for that.
Yeah.
That's why on this Sunday, when I went to hear that sermon at that church, and the person is preaching in the Old Testament on Joshua and doing all these Old Testament references, are people getting this? Because, like, this is some dense, stuff. A lot of times people don't preach on the Old Testament.
Yeah.
I was like, I know for a fact if I was sitting here a couple months ago, I wouldn't know a word of what he's talking about.
Right.
But because I had the privilege of being incarcerated and just focusing on what really matters, which was reading the Word, getting to know God's character, I knew exactly what that man was talking about. So I saw the fruit of that storm, and it was not my favorite 25 days, but blessings came from it, right?
Yeah.
One of the biggest miracles of my life, right?
Yeah.
My child.
Yeah.
So looking back on it, was it a bad season?
Yeah.
Or was it a season of blessings?
Yeah.
Right? I'm going to have to go with blessings on that one.
Yeah.
So, good things come out of bad situations, especially when you got God on your side, and Jesus Christ. You just have that lens shift, right?
Yeah.
And so we went back on that earlier. It's all about perspective and, what you see, how you see it, what you hear, how you hear it, right? If you're getting in the Word and you know what God's Word says, then there's really no reason to worry, right?
Yeah.
And then if you don't have to worry, then you can be patient when things go wrong. And then if you can be patient when things go wrong, you can have peace in that storm. So I'm thankful for it.
Yeah.
And so I know you didn't really ask too many questions about that, and I appreciate you.
Yeah.
But it is something that, it happened. It's my story, and I'm an open book. I'm willing to share.
Yeah.
And so I know you've kind of put the kid gloves on me this time. And I appreciate you. You're a good friend.
Yeah.
And, if we ever need to go more in depth or there's another season, another episode or whatnot.
What many other questions you were prepared to talk about today that I didn't ask or that you want me to ask, basically?
Oh, I mean, I guess, just more about the testimony, right?
Yeah.
There's a lot of ugly to it. But I'm thankful that you got me on here and I got to talk about the present, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
The beauty in it.
Yeah.
But I just want to, stress that no one's too far gone, right? Your circumstances don't define you. Your mistakes don't.
Yeah.
And I think with this ministry and everything, I'm just kind of in awe that God chose me because I feel like this ministry would be so much further along if it was someone else doing it, someone with a prettier past, right? Someone that wasn't a walking red flag, if you Google me or look me up or with probation and all of that stuff. So the fact that he's choosing my life with my circumstances to do this work, I'm so excited. And I love watching people's reactions when I get to tell them about what God has delivered me from.
Yeah.
It wasn't like I gave my life to Christ and everything was rainbows and sunshines and I made $1 million and this and that.
Yeah.
It was quite the opposite, but just having the peace and, being filled in the midst of a starving season, right? Financially, being in jail and having peace, right? Seeing blessings while being incarcerated, that only comes from knowing Christ.
Yeah.
So I don't know that answers the questions, but I just wanted to hammer that home because it's just something that has defined my life. I think it's something that I want to continue to share.
Yeah.
Those trials, those tough times.
Yeah.
Because, my life is not all just great, sunny, good stuff.
Yeah.
But God is good in the midst of it all.
I mean, your story is the gospel. I think of Saul and Paul, who was killing Christians and then became one of the main writers of the New Testament. And it's just like there is this perversion of Christianity that's like, oh, you got to be perfect. And that's like what the Pharisees were in the scripture, people trying to be perfect. And that's not what the gospel is. The gospel is, it says there's no one righteous, no, not one. Someone said in a Bible study recently that everyone could lose their salvation in a matter of 30 minutes for different sins that they commit. All of us, every single human being. There's no perfect person. So, I mean, God takes all of us in our imperfection and washes us white as snow with Jesus Christ. And,
Thank God.
So
I think that's a good point. I think, I see that a lot. Jesus actually came against religion, right?
Yeah.
And I don't know if Jesus, come back in time or, when he comes on those clouds, if he's really going to bother with any of those big church buildings, Yeah. I feel like, that has just gone so much of organized religion. When that guy was preaching on Sunday, he was going off. He was giving a word, man. I was being fed. I was into it. And they started flickering the lights, turning it on and off, because he was going over, right? They started signaling to him, doing all this stuff. And I didn't get it at the time because I don't understand that. But my wife, after we left, she was like, man, I hated how they were doing that to that guy, right? He just went too long. They got other people waiting. I'm like, let him in, let him hear this. But they got so much structure that they're squeezing out the Holy Ghost from what was happening right there.
Yeah.
Because they got budgets, right? Because they got things to fill. They got a big building, they got to pay for it, all that stuff. And so I think there is that, stereotype, right? Everybody sitting in church is perfect. And that's a big reason why a lot of people that, need the church won't go into church. Yeah. That's why Dojo USA is going out to the people that might not feel welcomed in the church.
Well, hey, bro, where can people find you on the streets and keep up with you so that they can go and experience you?
Yeah. Man, keep up with us on Instagram. If you donate, you get added to our email list. And that's kind of like the insider track. I love to update that part, and just share what's going on. Right now, our next event, June 8th.
Okay.
And after that, we don't have anything.
Okay.
So we'll see what God brings. We'd love to partner with churches, come out, do pizzas. I got a professional pizza squad that's ready to come out and serve it up in case it's in a place where I can't go. Yeah. We have already acknowledged that and made adjustments so that my team can go,
awesome.
Without me. Yeah. And we do that with churches so that we come out, feed them, raise money by selling pizzas, and then we're able to fund our charity outreaches. So just pray with us, follow along on the gram or TikTok, dojo.usa.
All right.
Our website, dojousa.com.
Yeah.
And thank you for the opportunity to come out here.
Thank you for coming and sharing your story, man. I really encouraged it by it, and I hope everyone who's heard it is also encouraged by it. So
man, thanks again, man.
Yeah.
I'm pumped.
I think I'm starting over.